Hello everyone! If you are a student, architect, engineer, or even designer, you have probably heard of the software Revit. I'm about to introduce you to all its magnificence. Once you open Revit, you will see a window with some sample projects already in it. You can always open them up and browse around or even use them. However, let's create a new project. Revit will ask us which template we want to use, with metric or imperial units, as well as what discipline we want, architectural or structural, and etc. There are some differences between them, and I will explain them later. As an engineer based in Europe, I will choose the metric structural template. Once the project is created, Revit will open one of the views. In this certain station, we are in the level 2 view. So what do we have here? On the left, I have the project browser, where I can browse through app views, elevations, schedules, legends, and etc. what is created in my project. On top of it, I have the properties bar, where I can change certain settings of selected elements, families, or views. You can rearrange it the way you'd like by simply holding and dragging it around the screen. You can put it on the right side or bottom. If you don't see any of those browsers or settings tab, you can turn them on, going to View, User Interface, or make them appear using the right mouse button and click on Browsers or Settings. To move around in Revit, use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. If you hold the mouse wheel, you will be able to pan around. Another way of zooming in is to use the Control button and the mouse wheel to move. If you find yourself in a 3D view, you can rotate around using the Shift key and holding the mouse wheel button. Another option is to use the View Cube or Navigation wheel. All opened views are tiled here. You can easily close them up, but if you close all of them, Revit will ask you if you want to close the whole project. On the ribbon, you can see different sections that can help you to model the project. You can notice that there are architectural and structural sections, and this is where the template discipline that we chose when creating the project comes into play. You can change the discipline in the properties bar on the left. So, if you create an architectural element, for example a wall, it will not be visible in the structural discipline. Let's start modeling using the structural tab because I'm currently working in the structural template. I want to create a grid system on which I will build the project. As you can see, it numbers them automatically. But if you switch from vertical to horizontal and want the grids to have alphanumeric numbering, you need to change one of them manually, and afterwards, it will follow the rule. Once the grids are set up, let's adjust the levels we have in this project. To do so, switch to the elevation view and use the level feature to create one. You can always change the elevation and names of the levels. Note that Revit creates new views accordingly to levels created. You can also create them manually by going to View and selecting Plan Views. Let's start creating some walls. In the Level 1 Plan view, go to Structural section and select the Wall tool. In the Modify panel, you can see the possible options for drawing walls. You can create a wall based on a line, rectangle, circle, or you can even select lines. Note that this panel shows up with almost every element you create, such as floors, roofs, etc. I want to model walls using the line option, but before that, let's take a look at the properties panel. You can see different settings that you can modify. At the moment, I want this wall to start at level 1 and to have a 0 base offset, and I want it to be connected to the second level with no top offset. You can also choose to have them connected with no top constraint. Let's draw a funny shape for the house, trying to follow the grids that we drew. Once we are done with the walls, let's add a floor to the house. In the Level 1 view, under the Structural tab, select Floors. As you can see, the Modify panel has appeared again. Here we can select a shape upon which the floor will be created. Note that when you are creating a floor, you should always have a solid closed outline indicated in purple color. Otherwise, you will run into warnings. If you draw different shapes, even though they look like two different geometries, when you finish editing, you will see that it is going to be only one floor. Keep in mind that you should always finish the edit with their own closed contour. And if you create, let's say, a smaller shape inside this rectangle, Revit will understand it as a cutout. You can always edit them again by selecting the Edit Boundary feature after double-clicking on the floor. Let's change the span direction of the floor and hit Finish once we're done with the shape. So this is how our project looks like in 3D view. We can change the visual styles of this view. Let's say I want it to be in consistent color. As well, I don't want to see levels of this view. So there's an option to disable certain families, elements, annotations in the view throughout the Visibility and Graphics feature. So let's dive into that. Go to View, Visibility and Graphics, and under the annotation categories, let's untick levels so they will be disabled in this view. And under Model categories, let's check if roofs are checked, because we are about to create a roof. To create a roof, let's go to the Architecture tab and select Roof. Revit will ask you on which level you would like to have your roof created. Let's select the second level, and here we have the Modify tab appeared again. Instead of drawing the roof shape with lines, this time let's pick the walls, and also include some overhang for the roof. Once you select the walls you want, don't forget to select lines that will define the slope. In this case, I want to have a slope in these two directions. And then hit the Finish Edit Mode button. You can always edit it again by simply clicking it 2 times. Okay, here's how our roof is created. But as we all noticed, there's a gap between the walls and the roof. And there's an easy solution for that. Just simply select the walls you want to be attached to the roof and select Attach to Top. Now it starts to look like a building. To finish this basic project, we need to add windows and doors. But because it is a structural template, it will only show openings that are created by the windows and doors we will add. Under the Architecture tab, let's select Doors. Now, in the Properties panel, you can choose which type of door opening you'd like to use. Of course, we can always edit them later, but we will cover that in future tutorials. For now, let's use this one. If you are seeing warnings that the doors won't be visible, what you need to do is go to the Visibility and Graphics and check the Doors or Windows category to be visible. Let's place one here and another on the other side of the building. Next, let's add some windows. There's also a possibility to add openings with the Opening feature. Let's try to create a vertical opening for the roof. Under the Structure or Architecture tab, select Vertical Opening. Then in the bottom left corner, you will see that Revit is asking us to select Floor, Roof, Ceiling or Soffit. I want it to be created for the roof, so I will select it. Choose how you want the opening boundary to be created and draw it on the roof. It can be easier to do this in the plan view, so let's go to the first level plan or second one and draw, let's say, a rectangle. Finish it up, and here's our opening created. As always, you can modify it using Edit Sketch or double-clicking on it. And there it is, our basic house created in under 10 minutes.